In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the strategy I used to get funded 50K with my funded futures. But that's not all. We will also dive deep into how I use fundamentals and news catalysts to help me make decisions about the direction in the market. Alright guys, so the main things that I look at inside of my strategy are supply and demand, a break of structure, and then fundamentals. And just to show you guys proof that I passed my 50K with this system, it's here. This is one of my accounts I passed the other day. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, using the same strategy that I use every single day inside of the markets. The main thing I like to look at is supply and demand. Essentially, demand is right here. When price makes a large move to the upside with consecutive candles, we call this demand. See how the last seller was right in this area, and then there was a large push to the upside? We call that a demand zone because there is aggressive buying inside of that area. Now, why is this important? It's important because institutional players and people with more money than us create these big pushes in the market, and we could capitalize off of their move by just getting in. So that's essentially demand. The next thing is a break of structure. Structure to me is when price makes a higher high. So price broke above this level right here. See, if price didn't break above this point, there would be no trade because there was no break of structure. See how price each time broke above the last high. Like a graph, we're making higher highs and higher lows. This is very important because the market moves based off of structure most of the time. See how it makes higher highs and higher lows? When the market is inside of an uptrend, most of the time it's going to follow these patterns and keep structure, because that's just how the market moves. Now that I've given you guys a good picture of demand, which this was the trade I passed the challenge with. Even though I let this trade go too long, I usually let my trades go for a 1 to 5 and move my stop loss to break even at a 1 to 1. Now this is a trade that I didn't take, but this is a picture of supply. There was consecutive selling out of an area that broke below this structural point right here. Now when price comes back to the zone, we sell. Same thing how demand is, but literally just the opposite. Now supply and demand and breaks of structures are important, but they're not the only thing that I use inside of my system that day to be able to get funded. One of the most important elements, and probably the foundation of my whole system in general, are news catalysts. Now you might be asking, what is a news catalyst? Basically, if you ever heard of fundamentals or just news in general, there are events that come out that shift market expectations. So an example of this day would be Apple had released its new AI, which drove the stock higher. I think it was like 7% or some crazy percent in the day. This caused NQ to rally up higher. See, knowing this gives you an edge inside of the market because you have a good chance that the market is going to do a certain move just based off the fundamentals, because the market moves based off of fundamentals. Another news catalyst that came out the other day was CPI. Once CPI numbers came out and they came out lower than expected, same thing for PPI, the dollar sold off heavily. And then once FOMC and the Fed said they're not gonna lower rates, they're gonna keep them high, the dollar rallied back up. So just knowing and seeing how these different news events play into trading can give you an extreme advantage and know when to trade and when not to trade. This is the foundation of my system and basically what I look at every day inside of the market. With just this itself on a very good pair or a very good indice like NQ, be no more than enough for you to get funded yourself and start making profits.